two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We welcome you to hour number 2 live right here on this Tuesday on the Early Line on SportsGrid. He is Joe Ranieri. I am Ben Stevens. In this second hour, the Super Bowl 59 countdown has reached only 5 days. 5 days away from Super Bowl Sunday inside the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans between the Chiefs and the Eagles. We continue our prop primer for Super Bowl 59 into this second hour. We'll check in once again with our guys in New Orleans on Radio Row. And then later on in this second hour, the coach makes his return to the Early Line for the first time in a while. That would be James Young. Some NBA action, of course, some further reaction to the craziness that was the blockbuster deal and Luka Doncic now being an LA Laker, Anthony Davis making his way to Dallas in a huge Tuesday night in college hoops. One more football game this year, Joe. That's it. And then a primary focus on basketball for the next few months.
Yeah, and I'm all for it. College hoops has been absolutely bonkers. What is left is right. What is up is down. And the NBA, boy, who knows if there's another superstar, big name that might be trading uniforms. Who knows? You got a couple of days for that as well.
A little bit more than 48 hours until Thursday's trade deadline in the association. There was one guy we thought was going to be traded back in December and early January and even a couple of weeks ago. That would be Miami's Jimmy Butler, but we await what that possible trade package might look like. Let's go back to our prop primer for Super Bowl 59. We've talked quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts, the backfields, and establishing the run being a key matchup in Super Bowl 59. The wideouts, of course, but when you talk pass catchers, especially for Kansas City on this dynastic run, you really start with Travis Kelce, one of the most prolific postseason performers we have ever seen in the history of the National Football League, and that includes specifically in the biggest game of each and every season. Kelce's props for Super Bowl 59, 6.5 receptions, 60.5 yards. To hit pay dirt, it's plus 125. In fact, it is the shortest number for anybody wearing a Chiefs uniform. Great work here by our stat man and our producer extraordinaire, Joe Frizo. 31 total receptions for Travis Kelce in the 4 Super Bowls he has played in. Second most in NFL history, only behind Jerry Rice, who has 33. 350 total receiving yards in the biggest game of a season. Fourth most in NFL history behind Jerry, Rob Gronkowski, and Lynn Swann. And the last time Kelce played the Birds, he was the Chiefs' leading receiver. 6 grabs on 6 targets for 81 receiving yards. Joe, what can we expect out of number 87 for Kansas City and that very prolific postseason connection with his quarterback Patrick Mahomes come Sunday evening?
Well, because of that connection and because of that perception, Ben, the only way I would look at Travis Kelce is looking much like Saquon to fade his numbers. I'd be looking to go underneath because, again, we're talking about, and I think it's fair to say that this is, this is the best defense the Chiefs have faced. I mean, Buffalo's defense is not the Eagles. Houston, for as good as they were against maybe the run, they were awful against the pass, and we all knew it. And you know who else knew it? Travis Kelce and Kansas City, because he had a huge game there as well. So I don't believe Travis Kelce that the Eagles are going to allow him just to roam free. What I would look at him is that longest catch prop, Ben, which I believe is longest reception, 19.5 yards. He has gone over 19.5 yards in 10 of the 18 games this year that he has placed. Although everything else, he's averaging 10 yards fewer this season in the regular season than he has. These numbers are inflated because everybody wants Travis Kelce. Everyone thinks Travis Kelce is going to run amok because of the past experiences. I don't know about that, but I do think he's got at least a 20, 25-yard reception in him. That's where I'd be looking to bet him in this game.
In the last 3 Super Bowl appearances for KC, Travis Kelce has been the leading receiver for the Chiefs. Last year, 9 grabs, 10 targets, 93 yards. Even in the Super Bowl loss in Super Bowl 55 to Tampa, 133 receiving yards for Travis Kelce. Joe, I do wonder if this number is inflated or if it is now accurate for that divisional round matchup against Houston. And we talked about his pantheon of Super Bowl numbers. That has been the case throughout the entirety of his playoff career for KC and just how prolific he has been. Divisional round matchup against Houston. What was my best bet during our pick 6 for that weekend from a yardage prop perspective? Travis Kelce over 51.5 receiving yards. Of course, a number he cleared rather easily. 7 grabs, 117 yards, and a touchdown against the Texans. I thought last time around, now 2 Sundays ago, in the championship game against Buffalo, his number was far too inflated. Hey, this guy still has it, Travis Kelce, at the tender age of 35 years old. He is still Patrick Mahomes' top target. Number was 67.5 against Buffalo. A 16-yard gap. Now, I wasn't going to bet the under. I wasn't running to the window to tell everybody, hey, fade Travis Kelce. But I wasn't going to pay the premium once again on Travis. Now I almost wonder if you are getting that equilibrium, the fair number on what can actually be expected. Because, Joe, I actually still believe that Travis Kelce, come this spot, will be Patrick Mahomes' top target. If not him, it is Xavier Worthy. In fact, Xavier Worthy has been the most targeted receiver for Kansas City throughout their 2 playoff games. Of course, Travis in that AFC title game against Buffalo, not overwhelming. 2 grabs on 4 targets for only 19 yards. I don't know if he's going to have 85 and a touchdown against Philadelphia. I think he will be more productive than the numbers we saw against the Bills. On the other side, Dallas Goedert has been often reliable throughout this playoff run for Philly. Second leading receiver for the Birds in that NFC Championship win over Washington. 4.5 grabs, same number for his receptions prop as both A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Second highest receiving yards number for a Bird at 50 and a hook. How do you look at Dallas Goedert for Super Bowl 59?
Well, look at him like everyone else looks at him here, Ben. He is going to be a primary target of the Eagles simply because the Chiefs have not covered tight ends at all year long, Ben. They were one of the worst defenses against tight ends and gave up just unbelievable chunks of yardage here. And I think this number is a little bit low. I mean, it opened up 46.5, Ben, and I couldn't bet it enough. I also think he could very well be the leading receiver of the game in here. We've seen what Dallas Goedert is capable of doing. I think also if Spags is going to be dialing up the blitz a lot and you're also going to be doubling A.J. Brown, I believe Dallas Goedert, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why would the Chiefs all of a sudden be able to cover tight ends in this game when they haven't been able to cover them all year? I think that's the weak spot of the defense, and I think Philadelphia will take advantage of it, centering around Dallas Goedert.
Even in the opening two games, when Jalen Hurts threw for 131 yards in the postseason against the Packers, only $128 in the win against the Rams, Dallas Goedert had at least 47 receiving yards in each of those games. He had 85 in the NFC Championship against Washington. He had 60 in the first Super Bowl matchup against KC. Of course, Jalen Hurts threw for over 300 yards that day, so everybody was skying over their props. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. We shall see for Super Bowl 59 and what the coverage plan is for KC. All three phases. Kicking props up next. Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Come on now. All three phases. You hear it each and every Sunday from NFL head coaches. We must be great on the offensive side, the defensive side of the football, but also in special teams. So when you are thinking of your Super Bowl 59 prop primer and what wagers you are going to bet in just 5 days, make sure you also approach the kicking and the punting props for the biggest game of each and every season. Could it dictate what we see in Super Bowl 59? Let us not forget the game-winning play of Super Bowl 57, the first two times these teams met, with only 6 seconds remaining on the clock. Harrison Butker, a gimme 27-yard field goal to win it for Kansas City. Harrison Butker has the higher of the two kicking points props for this upcoming Sunday, Joe, an over-under of 7.5. Jake Elliott, the Eagles kicker, 6.5 points, his prop for Super Bowl 59 against KC.
Yeah, I think the kicking aspect is going to be extremely interesting here, just given the fact that Butker, of course, had surgery this year, right? So he had missed a little bit of time, hasn't necessarily, especially on the longer kicks, been his usual self. He's missed his last three 50-plus kicks. I think he was only 2-5 on the season, and yet we know Elliott from 50 or longer, 0 for 8. So will they have an opportunity even to get over that 47.5-yard long field goal, Ben, is a big question. And I don't know. I think these teams, instead of if they're at midfield, I think they would much rather go for it on fourth down. Both of these teams have been known to do that. I think if anybody's got a shot at going over 47.5, it would be Butker. But I'd be shocked, even indoors, if they attempt a lot of these over 47.5-yard opportunities.
2 for 5. Harrison Butker from 50-plus yards this year. In each of those two makes came in the opening 3 weeks of this season. Yes, injury has played a component in that decision-making and maybe performance for Harrison Butker throughout the season. In the postseason, a perfect 4 of 4 in terms of his field goal tries, but the longest, just 36 yards. Perfect 5 of 5 in his extra points as well. Has not been nearly that easy, Joe, for Jake Elliott, who missed at least one extra point in the opening 2 playoff wins for Philadelphia, including 2 in the game against the Rams, which made things a little bit shaky at the end of the fourth and final quarter. Did also miss from 50-plus yards in the NFC Championship against the Commanders. Was perfect, though, 7 of 7 from that extra point perspective. That 55, 56-yarder he missed in the NFC title game against Washington, the only playoff miss for Jake Elliott this postseason, 6 of 7 elsewhere. I find it hard to believe we will not see a field goal of at least 48 yards in this Super Bowl. But we have seen 2 aggressive head coaches, understanding maybe some of the limitations of their field goal kickers this year. Joe, that could be very, very important, not just for these special teams specials, but also for the total. If instead of electing to try a 51-yard field goal, despite nearly perfect kicking conditions inside Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Andy Reid and or Nick Sirianni say, hey, it's 4th and 4, let's go for this on the plus side of the field. We don't really believe that Jake Elliott and or Harrison Butker can deliver from 50-plus yards as consistently and predictably as we once hoped. Then that could be huge. If they convert said fourth down, they then can add up more points. If there is a turnover on downs, that's a defensive struggle, and this game stays under, which leads us to the total punts in this matchup, an over-under of 6.5. These two teams, Joe, have not punted often throughout this postseason. Will we see 7 punts combined come Sunday evening in New Orleans?
Yeah, that's a good question. If you're looking at an under, you're probably going, can I get over the 6.5, please here? But I think that number is right where it's at, Ben, for a reason. I'd be shocked if we do get up and over. I think the defenses are going to have to stand tall because I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities on the 4th and shorts that they're going to go for it here instead of punting.
Philadelphia only 2 punts in the NFC Championship game against the Washington Commanders, and we know that is a recipe, but that was also scoring 55 points. If this game is a battle of 2 of 5 defenses that have held oppositions to fewer than 20 points per game this year, of course, a field position game would be more expected, and we are going to see more punts. I'm not so sure that is the case, though, in this football game. Punting was a big key against the Commanders. If you could make Washington get off the field with how aggressive they were, that's a huge win right then, right there for Philadelphia. We'll see, of course, if that is going to be the case against Kansas City. Just totaling the actual punts for KC in that AFC Championship game against Buffalo, only 2 in that second half as well. No punts in the opening half for Philly. No punts in the opening half for Kansas City in their conference championship game. So make sure you pay attention to those special teams specials to try to find some winning wagers come Super Bowl Sunday. I'm not sure I'm in love with any of those numbers, Joe. 55-plus yard field goal at plus 470 should be enticing. Let us not forget, this game's not outside in the cold at the Link or in Arrowhead, where these two teams have played the entirety of their playoff matchups so far this season. It is within a dome in New Orleans. You would think that is perfect kicking condition. We'll see if it reflects in the game plan and philosophy for Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni.
It feels like, Ben, if that's going to happen, it's going to be with 3 seconds left before the half, and why not? You know what I mean? That's what that feels like, that attempt may come.
And we know, right? Everybody has been trying to find a blueprint to beat Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. You often want to do that being ultra aggressive in blowing them out so they're a zero shot. Speaking of kickers who know New Orleans, Blake Grupe put Donnie right side up next.
Need help with your NFL picks? Get NFL insider knowledge from Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chow, with Sick Picks at Sports Injury Central. We reveal hidden injury advantages the sports books miss. Our doctors provide insights, and our algorithm tells you who to bet on. Spreads, player props, totals, in-game bets, Sick Picks covers it all. Get a free week now with promo code SportsGrid at SickScore.com.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.
As we were talking about all three phases for Super Bowl 59 this Sunday in the Big Easy, a guy whose home is inside Caesars Superdome and understands what it takes to split the uprights, Saints kicker Blake Grupe with Donnie Rightside on Radio Row in New Orleans.
Live from New Orleans, right here at Media and Radio Row, Donnie Rightside along with Blake Grupe, Saints member right here. Blake, how we feeling today, man?
Hey, I'm loving it. This is a wild day, and I'm sure it's going to heat up later on in the week.
Absolutely. Now, I'm a northern guy. Mm-hmm. I've never been to New Orleans. This is my first time. You are here. This is your city. What should we be doing with ourselves?
I'll tell you what. There's about anything you could want to eat, do, find in this city. I personally am I'm a small town guy. I like doing outdoors, so maybe a swamp tour or something you can go check out. I might be able to have a number for you there.
Yep.
But yeah, I've done and I've been here for 2 years now, and got my girlfriend down here. So I don't know if I'm a local yet, but we're starting to figure it out.
Hey, look,
here.
I'm sure they treat you like a local down here, no doubt about it. Now, if I had one place to eat or one type of food to eat in New Orleans, like what are we eating?
There is everything, like I said. I'm a big steak guy.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And two steakhouses I'd probably point you towards.
Yep.
Desi Vega, right there.
Okay.
It's right off of Poydras, close. And then Braza. There's a Braza on Canal Street.
Gotcha. That's right where we're at.
Yep. I would go check that out. It's kind of like a South American type steakhouse.
Yep.
They got some good stuff. I would point you there.
Little interesting twist. Now let's get into it too. For anybody that doesn't know Blake, NFL kicker, which I got to start here with this. We're going to get to the background. I can't imagine what goes through your mind. I'm not even talking about a game-winning field goal, but I'm just talking about lining up a 37-yarder where it's just you out there. How do you get that mindset?
Usually what goes through your mind is not a whole lot.
Yeah.
You know, to be real honest.
Yep.
That's why you develop your routines.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of what helps bridge that gap between just kicking on your own in practice.
Yep.
And then, when the whole world's watching on Sunday. So you master that routine, and you just engulf yourself in that routine. That's all you're worried about. And, it helps tune out, I guess, everything else that's around it.
Now let's take it through the mind of an athlete as well. When you were a kid, always wanted to be a kicker? Did you play football? Did you play soccer? Like, how did you make this your expertise?
Yeah, I played Pee Wee football.
Yeah.
I was a heck of a running back.
There you go.
Yeah.
Little Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
all right.
I was on the Rams back then. But no, my parents are both college athletes. My dad actually went to school, same school. My dad went to go play soccer.
Yep.
Title IX came in, shut down the soccer program.
Yes.
In his fraternity, he had a bunch of football guys, and they didn't like their kicker, so he went and walked on. Never actually played it down, but that's how kind of I got my start. My mom was a gymnast down there.
Yeah.
So my dad likes to say, and everybody likes to tell my dad that I get my athleticism from my mom.
Flexibility.
Yeah, but no, they went to Southeast Missouri State, so that's kind of where we got the kicking background. I always thought I was going to play college soccer.
Yeah.
And went through the whole route of traveling around. I played some pretty, not the highest level, but I played some pretty high level stuff in club soccer, and then you basically would just show up on Fridays in high school and kick.
Yep.
Had one walk-on offer to Arkansas State, and I was like, not many people care about college soccer. A lot of people care about college football.
True.
So went down that road. Took my one walk-on offer with really no idea what I was getting myself into. Made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Did you have a competition for that walk-on spot as a kicker? Was another guy you were going toe-to-toe with?
I redshirted. I didn't play down my first year, and then actually got the job 3 or 4 games into my redshirt freshman year. Went like 60-something%. Like I said, I messed up a lot before I really figured it out. Brought in a guy on scholarship to take my place, and somehow beat him out, somehow got good, and just kind of been climbing the ladder since.
That's a way to do it. Now, you did go to Notre Dame your senior, is that correct?
I did.
Tell me about going from Arkansas State, which again, Division I program, to the most recognizable college football program in the country.
Yeah, obviously the portal has become what it is now, and I feel like I was like in stage 1 of the portal, but I transferred there. I got to see college football at a major stage, which I didn't, Arkansas State, obviously, like you said, Division I, but 2 different sides of the ball here, completely different. So, went through some things I had to figure out there, and self-actualization, and really, believing that I could be a part of there, and had a good year, nothing crazy. Led me to being undrafted, and next thing you know, I'm in New Orleans, and we're finished with 2 years of my NFL career. So it's been a wild ride.
I love it. Now, when you get to the NFL, and I'm just talking about the journey to the NFL, from your last college game to how you prepared and how you made the team, because being a kicker, most people can see that you're expendable here. How did you hang on with New Orleans? Like, how did they make you the kicker there?
You have to believe you are the guy.
Yeah.
Give them no choice. Obviously you make kicks, and it's simple. Make your kicks, and you'll stick around. So, you got to do everything you possibly can in your ability to show what you can do, and show that you're the guy, and then that you're the guy that they can trust.
Toughest place to kick in the NFL you've had so far, where is it?
I would say Lambeau and MetLife are up there. Lambeau got me my rookie year.
Yeah.
And then MetLife got me this last year. We had 4 misses this year out of 31, and 2 of them were at MetLife with a 53 and a 60. So tough day there. But that's why you learn and get better, and so definitely those outdoor colder weather.
That's what I'm saying, Blake,
conditions.
make everybody kick in a dome here. I think you would agree.
I
That's
would be
Blake
a big fan of
Grupe,
that.
the New Orleans Saints, right here. Great kicker in the NFL. Thanks for joining us today on Radio Row.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
the two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The return to the early line for the first time in far too long. It is the coach, James Young, JY. Bright and early here on this Tuesday morning to go all around the association in what has been a wild week already that started bright and early on a Sunday morning as well. JY, thank you so much for being here. Glad to have you back on the show.
Hey, well, I guess we just needed like Luka and AD to get traded for each other to get JY back on the network. But it's also February. Super Bowl this weekend. It's basketball season, man. It's time to talk hoops.
One final football game, JY. So that primary focus is going to be on the NBA and some college basketball for the next few weeks and few months live right here on TEL. But you are correct. With the lack of football on Sunday, for the first time since early September, the NBA said, we got you. And they didn't wait long. 12 minutes into Sunday, February 2nd, when we got this update from ESPN's Shams Charania. Luka Doncic headed to the Los Angeles Lakers in return for a blockbuster deal that featured Anthony Davis heading back to the Mavericks. A trade, JY, that is going to change the NBA landscape, not just this season, but for many, many years to come. We have seen the reaction. We have all tried to get over our initial shock. We have heard the reasoning why from guys in Dallas like GM, Nico Harrison, so on and so forth. Now that it's been about 48 hours, JY, what has your lasting takeaway been?
First off, hold my beer. I mean, they literally did the hold my beer moment to the NFL by announcing the trade. It's one of those trades, man, when we got up, wherever you were, you thought it was a prank. You had to look everywhere on social media. I think Shams maybe said, yes, this is true. Because I thought it was April 1st when I saw it, and it was an April Fool's Day joke. But when you take a look at it, Ben, you're right. This has ramifications not just this year, but let's be honest, the next decade in the NBA, because of the age of Luka Doncic, and you look at the Lakers, a franchise that's always had superstars from Mikan to Baylor to Wes to Wilt to Kareem to Magic to Worthy to Shaq to Kobe to LeBron to Gasol. They've always had superstars. So it makes sense. I think the rest of the league is ticked off, supposedly, because of the fact that it seems like Nico Harrison didn't call the entire league. But at the end of the day, if that's what Nico Harrison wants, that's what Nico Harrison's going to get. To me, Ben, like you said, it's a short-term, long-term. To me, and maybe I'm in the minority, short-term, I have to be honest, I do like this for Dallas. Number one, I think Kyrie's the most engaged we've seen him in a long time. I think having Jason Kidd there as a coach, as a mentor, has gotten Kyrie to play. Kyrie had great numbers when Luka's been out this year. So now as a coach, and this is where I think I'm different than most, high pick and roll, dive AD. So now you have a poison of who do you take? The drive, right, the ball handler, or the roll? But then now you can space it with PJ Washington. You can space it with Klay Thompson. You can space it with Quentin Grimes, who has been really, really good the last month. Not a lot of people are talking about. And now that offense Ben, becomes really dynamic, and they still kept Gafford, and they still kept Lively. So for Dallas, short term, if AD's healthy and Kyrie's engaged, this makes a lot of sense for them.
And as far as LA goes, because I'm still fascinated, Coach, with the idea, this did not happen in a vacuum. Dallas didn't wake up and be like, it'd be great we do this weekend, no NFL. Let's trade Luka Doncic. This has been building up for a while. New ownership group there, right? Mark Cuban not there anymore. I don't know that this would have happened if he was. But if you're the Lakers, it's a trade you have to make. But tell me, what does it look like with Luka and LeBron on the court together?
Offensively, firepower. Right? You got two guys that can handle the ball, create everything for everyone else. My problem is not the offense. And someone's like, well, it's going to be like an all-star game. Yeah, well, that's the problem. They don't play any defense in the all-star game. And that's where my problems come with the Lakers. You have what did Pat Beverly call Paul a cone? You have a cone on defense in Luka. Something that frustrated Jason Kidd a lot. You can watch how he reacts sometimes on the sideline, right? Then you have LeBron as 41 years old as, let's be honest, a minus defender at the 4. So LA, which at one point AD said, we need a center so I can play the 4, you take arguably one of the best rim protectors, one of the best lob threats, and one of the best rebounders off a team that now I don't think has a rim protector, a rebounder, or a shot blocker. So to me, I think there needs to be another trade. If you look at it now, there's got to be another move, Joe. And I look at 4 guys. Mitchell Robinson in the Knicks, who now just got cleared for contact in practice, but still about 2 weeks away, I would guess. Valanciunas, does he get bought out of the Wizards, right? Clint Capella off a team like Atlanta at some more time, it's going to have to either move him or a Kongwu. One of them have to go. Or do you go young with a guy like a Walker Kessler, but, Danny Ainge may ask for like 17 first-round picks. There's got to be another move, guys, because if it isn't, then this is not even about next year. This is about after LeBron retires.
And you would think another move is coming, that you make this deal to say, not only do we have our future superstar in Luka Doncic for the next decade plus, we want to win another one with LeBron James right here, right now. JY, I love the coaching perspective that you brought to the Mavericks, because if you take Nico Harrison at his word, which I think is slightly difficult at this moment, he made this move because the Mavericks are win now. There is an idea as well, as Joe said, this did not happen in a vacuum. They were tired or over Luka Doncic, which I find very hard to believe. But the point that I've been trying to get through, and I think a lot of people have, this is still Luka freaking Doncic. What can he mean for the Lakers franchise in the future of the NBA as a 25-year-old, 5-time first-team All-NBA player for the next 10, 12, 15 years in Los Angeles?
That maybe after LeBron leaves and he takes over for a decade, you may have to put a Luka Doncic statue next to Magic, next to Kobe, next to, everyone else, next to Wilt and all the greats, Jerry West. I mean, this guy is a walking triple-double. He's dynamic offensively. He's charismatic. He's European, so he draws over the European market. And he's one of the most popular and most polarizing players in the NBA. Here is where I hope we get. I hope LeBron, where you like him or not, the guy at 40 years old takes care of his body better than anyone in the league. Maybe that can rub off on Luka, the taking care of yourself, the dieting, the exercise. Because if you get Luka fully engaged, offensively, defensively, and in shape, and let me tell you something, you hurt calves, you should something, guys, that's weight. He's carrying too much weight. Just like we talked about Zion carrying too much weight, it's the same thing with Luka Doncic. But if he's motivated and he's healthy and his body is right, come on, guys, this is a top 3 guy in the NBA. Top 3 right now at 25 for the next 5 to 10 years. He's a top 3, top 5 guy in this league. If it works out for LA, they just found their other megastar to carry him for the next 10 plus years.
And what's going to be so fascinating is because of this blockbuster trade, Luka Doncic no longer able or eligible, should I say, for that super max extension he could have signed in Dallas this offseason. So by relative terms, the Lakers are actually getting Luka Doncic at a discount to now be the superstar of the future in the city of Angels. JY, one other question about the Mavericks in comparison to the Lakers, the remainder of this season on the other side of the break. And then we'll talk De'Aaron Fox in San Antonio and some maybe potential blockbusters that still could happen in the next 48 hours ahead of Thursday's trade deadline. All of that next on SportsGrid. I have no idea how to categorize what Mavericks GM Nico Harrison pulled off, Joe. All I know is that he shipped off Luka Doncic without telling Luka about it.
If you thought conditioning was a problem for Luka, wait till you get a load of Anthony Davis tripping over air and then missing 40 games because he's like Glass Joe.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
You know, they have a lot of hopes, and they thought last year they were turning the corner. Even early this year, they start turning the corner, and then you lose 13 games in a row.
Edmonton chipped away, got a late goal, won the game 4-3. I felt like they dominated the third period. They moved the puck on that power play. It was an exceptional hockey game. It went over the total.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Tuesday on the Early Line, our coach, James Young, JY, here for yet another segment. JY, I teased it right before the break. There will be a natural comparison between the Mavericks trying to be win now this year in Dallas and what the combination of LeBron and Luka can do for LA. We are past the midway point of this NBA season. The Lakers are in the 5 spot in the Western Conference standings, 28-19. The Mavs just 2 games above 500, 26-24, currently in the 8th spot. They would be in the Western Conference play-in tournament. This year, JY, not the next 5 or 10 beyond 2024-25, who do you think has the better chance of making a deeper playoff run?
This year it's Dallas. And I just don't understand on how they are constituted right now. So if you look at the Mavs win total at 44.5, Dallas has the 12th toughest schedule the rest of the way in the NBA according to Tankathon. So to me, a team that's going to rely on its defense. Now, listen, we have the oblique injury for AD. AD gets hurt a lot, so you never know. But if you're asking me if there's a team I'm going over with out of the two, to me it's Dallas. I really think they're going to be elite defensively. You talk about where they are offensively with the spacing of the floor, with the pick and roll, and the spacing of the shooters. But AD is a rim protector, plus defender. PJ Washington, plus defender. Klay Thompson, not where he was before he got hurt, still a good defender. Derek Lively, plus defender. Daniel Gafford, plus defender. they can defend. And that's where Jason Kidd really marks his hat on. So I like them defensively. I like them to go over their win total. And I'm really curious. I think too many people jumped on the Lakers because of the names and not the fit, right? So I don't understand how Dallas flip-flop their odds to win a championship based off of this trade, because I think Luka's hurt, obviously, so that calf ball is going to be tricky. You have age of LeBron. You don't have great shooters, and we don't know what the next move is. I think over win total of 44.5 for the Mavs, and I would go under 48.5 for the Lakers.
Well, it wasn't the only trades going down over the weekend, Coach. It feels like San Antonio keeps playing chess while everyone else plays checkers here. And now they bring in De'Aaron Fox, Wembanyama. They keep all their young assets, all their draft picks. They still have all of this cap space. What do you think of the move with him to San Antonio to play with Wembanyama?
When you look at that team, and I'm going to say this, I think, guys, and, obviously Ben's going to know we're doing this because Ben and I are doing the Final Four for years together. De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle is going to be an elite defensive backcourt. Elite. Both of them can guard at the 1 or 2. They can guard at the point of attack. They can guard scores. So they're going to be so great defensively, right? But then you're right, Joe. You don't give up Keldon Johnson. You don't give up Devin Vassell. You don't give up Jeremy Sohan. You don't give up any of these young guys. You gave up Zach Collins. At the end of the day, with the way the NBA is, you could play Wemby as a small ball stretch five, kind of the way that the Porzingis is and the Cats and so on and so forth are being used. Guys, I loved this team before the season started to make the playoffs. I thought obviously losing Pop has hurt them, but I think Fox is going to be motivated with Castle. This is where he wants to go. And this team's window is going to start to open up here. And then here's the cool thing, too. Let's see what they do with Chris Paul. Because I think Chris Paul going back to the bench as a mentor for Fox and Castle and these young guys who have never been in playoff runs, this is a good guy to have along with Harrison Barnes as veterans in the locker room with the Spurs.
The ceiling is high. San Antonio 21-26, though, 3 games out of a Western Conference play-in spot. Can they make that charge here in the home stretch in the second half of the NBA campaign? So those are already the blockbuster deals we have seen during NBA deadline week. It's hard to beat Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis. But, JY, for a while, the big headlines around the NBA, the Jimmy Butler saga. Would he be traded? Would he be suspended? He's been suspended countless and numerous times. So whether it's Jimmy Butler on the move in the next 48 hours or any other megastar around the NBA, who do you think is most likely to be dealt by Thursday's deadline?
Out of the guys on this list, it's going to be easy for me. It's going to be Cam Johnson. Because the Nets, listen, the Nets have no business even trying to win right now. Like this is all about capture the flag. This is all about trying to get that number 1 pick and as many ping pong balls that can get you in there to give you a chance. So Cam Johnson's he should be definitely gone. Let's go through this really quick. Jimmy Butler, Ben, at the end of the day, Rouse can just sit there and say, we'll take the cap space. Where are you going to go next year on a max deal? The only place you can go is Brooklyn, and they're not going to sign you. Kevin Durant, it becomes intriguing because that team is underachieved. At what time do Matt Ishbia blow that up with him and Bradley Beal? You have to watch New Orleans. They have to blow it up. CJ McCollum out for the year with the Achilles tear. Zion never available. I would add also CJ McCollum to that list as Brandon Ingram and a Herb Jones if they want to start that whole season, everything over with New Orleans. And Nikola Vucevic, this is the trade of Levine should be the precursor to all what's supposed to happen in Chicago. Trade Vucevic. Get rid of Lonzo. Let Torrey Craig go to a contender. Ayu DeSambo, maybe let him go and get something. Start over with Bazelis, Kobe White, and then do this, folks. He deserves and supposed to be in college. We've lost too many great college coaches. Bring Billy Donovan back to the collegiate game. I think it would fit, and I think they need to start looking at that.
It is a new era in college basketball for sure. So, JY, 48 hours out from the trade deadline, already with the blockbuster deals we have seen and the shifting numbers on the Lakers to win Larry O'Brien Trophy, and of course the Mavericks' outlook for the remainder of this year. as you stare at the NBA title odds for this season, is there a team that we should wager on now before the flurry of moves we might see later this week?
I think you look at Dallas. I like that. It's off the board, and for right coach has got to write this is a sleeper pick with that. But watch the Knicks. If Mitchell Robinson comes back and they shores up their defense, you know, hey, listen, orange and blue skies, they beat the Rockets. You know Coach Young is drinking the Knick Kool-Aid all day, every day. And I'm a real Knick fan, unlike those other jabronis like Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, more on the early line next. I have no idea how to categorize what Mavericks GM Nico Harrison pulled off, Joe. All I know is that he shipped off Luka Doncic without telling Luka about it.
If you thought conditioning was a problem for Luka, wait until you get a load of Anthony Davis tripping over air and then missing 40 games because he's like Glass Joe's.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You know, they have a lot of hopes, and they thought last year they were turning the corner. Even early this year, they start turning the corner, and then you lose 13 games in a row.
Edmonton chipped away, got a late goal, won the game 4-3. I felt like they dominated the third period. They moved the puck on that power play. It was an exceptional hockey game. It went over the total.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's talk some NBA action on this Tuesday around the association with our coach, James Young, JY, here to round out our second hour. What a matchup we have in the Eastern Conference. The team that has the best record out east and in all of the NBA, that's the Cleveland Cavaliers. 40-9 this year. First team to hit the 40-win benchmark in the association against the NBA title favorites in the reigning NBA champs in the Boston Celtics, who are a rare underdog this season on the road in the land. The Cavs a 2-point home favorite. Total now stands on FanDuel at 238. It is a marquee matchup, JY. It is a potential Eastern Conference Finals preview. What can we all expect to see tonight in Cleveland?
You're gonna look for a Cavs team that's gonna want to put the hammer down. At 237 seems awful high for a Cleveland Cavaliers team that I think can defend, even though they could score at a high level, and so can Boston. I think you're gonna see these two teams with Kenny Atkinson and obviously Joe Mazzulla really go for it as the two best teams in the East. My problem, Ben, right now with the Celtics is you know, obviously they haven't covered the last two games, is I would call it their fluctuating effort, right? You have games, lose by 21 at the Lakers. You need a 20-point outburst to beat Philadelphia without a couple other superstars. Going to distance with a New Orleans team that's banged up and not really good. So to me, if you look at how teams are playing more consistently, you got to look at Cleveland. It's a 2-point spread. Give me the Cavs on your money line tonight.
You mentioned it, Coach. The Lakers just traded away their two best defenders, Anthony Davis and Max Christie. So what are we doing here against this Clippers team who is going to welcome back Norm Powell here tonight, Kawhi Leonard? Are we looking for more points than usual?
Yeah, I think you are. I think you're looking at the over in this game, because of the fact of, Luka's not going to be available. Let's see if Luka gets back this week or next week with the injury. But if you are the Clippers, you get Norman Powell, one of the best six men now, just guards in the league now, you're going to want to push the pace and get this game up and down against a Lakers team that also doesn't have a really good rim protector and shot blocker inside. So when I'm looking at Jackson Hayes at the center position, like, come on, are you serious here? So to me, I look at the over in the game, and if you want to look at someone, look at Ivica Zubac. I don't know what his number is right now, but maybe a double-double or points plus rebounds for Ivica Zubac, who should be able to have his way inside versus the Lakers tonight.
An 8.5-point spread says all you need to know about the idea the Lakers are not at full strength just yet, maybe a few weeks away from being there. The Clippers also one of the best cover teams in the NBA just overall, but when booked as a favorite just 24 times this year, 16-8 against the spread. Very good covering numbers when expected to win a basketball game. Last night, I was at Madison Square Garden. I was a day early for a real matchup that I was hoping to see, although a great Knicks comeback, of course, last night to edge out the Houston Rockets. What a garden party we have on this Tuesday night. Top 15 tilt in the Big East that could decide the top spot of the conference in the standings at this moment. Maybe the biggest game at Madison Square Garden for St. John's men's basketball in how long? 2.5-point spread in favor of the Red Storm against the Golden Eagles of Marquette and Shaka Smart. Total JY 146.5. A critically important game for the Big East regular season title race. What goes down tonight inside the world's most famous arena?
A lot of defense. I know that sounds crazy for two teams that average about 79, 80 points a game, but you're going to want to see, this is going to be a slugfest. Listen, folks, this ain't as big as 1985 St. John's, Georgetown, 1 versus 2, Ewing versus Mullen. But guys, it's up there for a university that has struggled since Louis Carnesecca left from all those other coaches. This is a huge spot for a St. John's team that I think can make a deep run. I think you play the under. If you play of RJ Lewis, can he make the tough shots? But to me, guys, you know where I'm going with this as my Seton Hall connection. It's all about Kadari Richmond. If Kadari Richmond plays like the way he played 24-8-8 versus Providence, this team is primed for a Final Four run because this is a do-everything kind of guy. But there's a guy named Cam Jones on the other side that can get it done tonight for Marquette. Buckle up, folks. We'll be fireworks tonight.
I think that total is critically important, JY. 146.5. If the Johnnies play the way that Rick Pitino wants this team structured, fourth most efficient defense in the country, I think we stay even under the bright lights of MSG on this Tuesday. JY, fade away to the break once again, my friend. Thank you for being here to end out this second hour. Our third and final up next.